Online movie streaming services are the future. People don't want to watch ads while watching their favorite movie, and they want to decide which film they want to watch and when they want to watch it. So online streaming services are growing rapidly worldwide. And the good thing for us is that we can invest in these companies. The three biggest streaming services are Netflix, Disney Plus, and HBO Max. This month I invested in only one of these, and now I will explain why I'm buying only this stock. The Walt Disney Company is founded in 1923, so it's almost a 100-year-old company. They are a dividend-paying company. Their first dividend payment was in 1962, so 59 years ago. So they had a really long dividend history. They were paying dividends for a very long time, but last year, when Disney needed to close all their parks because of the pandemic, they had to stop paying dividends. Of course, Disney will probably pay dividends again when they can open their parks, but one of the most important filters in my stock selection is that dividend payments or the company I buy should be recession-proof. Because I only want to invest in companies that will pay me dividends even when there is a recession. It's important to know that a company is not legally obligated to pay out its profits in the form of dividends, because it's not a bond. A dividend-paying company is not a bond. But I'm looking for companies that can and want to pay dividends. So Disney stopped paying dividends last year, but this is not the only reason I'm not buying their stocks now. The market average is very overvalued today. The S&P 500 has a PE ratio of 40. This is the valuation of the market average, and historically it was always around 15. Now Disney is even more overvalued today. Disney has a PE ratio of 91. And another thing that gives us clue for the valuation is the dividend yield. Though Disney doesn't pay dividends right now, if we consider that previously they paid a $1.76 yearly dividend and the stock price is $186 now, that would give us a 0.94% dividend yield. This is a really low dividend yield. Even the market average, the S&P 500, has a dividend yield of 1.47%. So even though Disney Plus is one of the top 3 movie streaming platforms with 100 million users, I don't buy the stocks today. And I also don't own any Disney shares. And there's Netflix. They are the most popular movie streaming service and they grow rapidly. They already have 204 million users worldwide. Netflix never paid any dividends so far, and I mostly invest in dividend-paying companies because I want to create a passive income portfolio for myself. But the dividend payment is only one filter in my stock selection process, so let's take a look at other data. Netflix has a PE ratio of 90. Compared to the market average, which is 40. And of course, you can justify this valuation with the fact that Netflix is growing rapidly. The past years, they had a 30% yearly growth, which is huge. But again, a PE ratio is only one criteria in the selection process. Netflix was founded in 1997, so it's a 24-year-old company. And they only started their video streaming service in 2007. Of course, they are the early bird in the movie streaming game, but let's come back to this later. And there's HBO Max, which is owned by AT&T. So if I want to invest in HBO Max, I need to buy the shares of AT&T. AT&T was founded in 1983, so it's a 38-year-old company. While they are not growing so rapidly, they grow their dividend payments for 37 years now. So this included many recessions where they didn't stop and didn't reduce their dividends, including this pandemic. This is one of the most important aspects for a dividend investor. A dividend history is only one aspect of my stock selection, but this is a dividend history I like to see when I look at a stock. This means that AT&T is a company that can and want to pay dividends. Does this mean that we can be certain that they won't reduce their dividends? No. It only means that it's highly unlikely. Now let's talk about the valuation. AT&T has a PE ratio of 9. Yes, that's a single digit. When the market average, the S&P 500, has a valuation of 40, Disney and Netflix are around 90, AT&T has a PE ratio of 9. AT&T pays a $2.08 yearly dividend, so this means that the dividend yield is almost 7% today. That's a huge number. The market average, the S&P 500, has a dividend yield of less than 2%. HBO and HBO Max had 41 million subscribers in the United States as of the end of 2020. This is only the United States, and they are planning to grow globally. They expect to have 150 million users by 2025, 4 years from now. AT&T had a $171 billion revenue in 2020. They generated $15 billion from HBO and HBO Max, and they expect it to be doubled by 2025. So I believe AT&T is a very overlooked and undervalued company. And this is why I bought more shares of AT&T this month. I already had positions in the company and I added even more. Everyone wants to invest in cool brands like Tesla, Apple, Netflix, and I believe that most investors only look at cool brands and not the numbers. They know Nike, they know Apple, they know Tesla, Netflix, and they buy them because they are popular brands and because of the hype. And don't get me wrong, these are all great companies, but investing is more than just buying companies that have a cool brand. In fact, many times you can make more money if you invest in boring companies. Another thing is that Netflix is way ahead in the streaming game and they have the most subscribers in the world, and they were the first one. But history tells us that many times early birds are the losers in the game. The fast food restaurant Jack in the Box was the first company that started the drive-thru in 1951, and McDonald's only started in 1975. Now, McDonald's is the leader of the fast food industry for many years now. Another example is Yahoo, which started its search engine in 1994, 4 years before Google, and we all know how this story ended. I'm not saying that Netflix will fail. So far they are doing great, but just because they are ahead in the game, it doesn't mean that they will be the winners in the end. In fact, history tells us that most of the time early birds pay the bill. They are the guinea pigs. So here is Disney with suspended dividends and a high valuation, Netflix with no dividends and a high valuation, and AT&T with 37-year dividend growth, a 7% dividend yield, and a very low PE ratio of 9. Disney had a $65 billion revenue, Netflix had a $25 billion revenue, and AT&T had a $171 billion revenue in 2020. Of course, this is not a complete analysis of any of these stocks, but I wanted to share with you some of the main reasons why I bought more shares of AT&T this month.